Yes, sir. We're officially back at it. This is Boog Nice coming at you with the Marvel Legends Age of Apocalypse series Sugarman Build-A-Figure Wave Weapon X figure review. Let's do it.
This ain't for no scalper. You a scalper? Then fuck out shit. This one's for them real collectors. That's army building and posing figures. Marvel Legends, imports, mini Mayfield fucking with them. Hype beast, we know about you. Stay buying figs, don't know about it.
7 figures in the wave. You're going to need all 7 figures to complete the Sugarman Build-A-Figure. Quick look at the artwork on the side of the box. It is the same on the left and the right flap. Alright, here we go. Logan, aka Weapon X. His bio on the back of the package reads, armed with adamantium claws and superhuman healing abilities, Weapon X joins the battle against Apocalypse. So I'm not going to hold you up. This is definitely one of the better figures out of this wave. Probably one of the best. We've known this since we saw this teased at SDCC. Me in particular, I was really intrigued by the head sculpt. I think they did a really good job on this head sculpt.
The head sculpt for Weapon X, who did that? I would have to look into that.
You know what I'm going to say though? I just wish there was also a neutral head sculpt packed in with him. Not too many accessories with this guy. I'll go over that very shortly. Looks like pretty much all the figures in this wave have been lacking in the accessories department. Interesting how they laid out this wave. Oftentimes they'll have the figures arranged on the back of the package in no particular order. But it seems like if you go by the numbers that they have on the back of the package, you will build Sugarman in order. Weapon X is number 5 of 7 in this wave, and he's packed in with the left leg to complete the Sugarman Build-A-Figure. So in terms of reviewing these figures, I think the way that it's laid out on the back of the package is pretty ideal. Some of the less sought after figures, I think, in my opinion, were first. So 1 was Jean Grey, 2 was X-Man. We started to heat up a little bit with Sunfire at number 3. Wild Child was kind of meh, he's in the middle. And then the last 3 reviews are going to be figures that I think will be the most sought after in this wave. So Weapon X, and then we'll have Morph, and then Dark Beast, who's the one I'm looking forward to the most and will be the last regular review in the wave. So I don't think Hasbro could have messed this up, being that they put Wolverine on one of the best bucks that they have in their arsenal. You cannot go wrong with this buck for Wolverine, and basically they just had to change up his deco, give him a new head sculpt, and did something different with his his hands and his claws here. So the AOA Wolverine was apparently traveling through Japan when Apocalypse first started his assault on the world. He had briefly clashed with Silver Samurai in this universe because he had a relationship with her half-sister at the time, even had a child with her. But later on he ended up joining Magneto's X-Men as Weapon X to take on Apocalypse. Jean Grey was kind of doing some like psychic probing or healing on him, and they ended up developing a close bond, and they ended up developing a relationship. At some point she got captured by Apocalypse, and Magneto refused to send a squad in to rescue her, and that created a rift between Magneto and Weapon X, and I believe he ended up going to rescue her himself, and they kind of left the X-Men after that. And it should be noted that he lost his left hand in a battle with Cyclops. In that same battle, I think he took one of Cyclops's eyes, but he was still able to release his claws through his stump. So interesting detail in terms of accessories here. You can actually pop off the left claw stub and replace it with one with the claws retracted. So that's pretty cool. Other than that, no additional accessories packed in with Weapon X. But taking a close look at the deco, I think they did a very nice job. Clean. I don't see any paint imperfections. All right, I'm lying. I do see one little speck of red there that I can probably just wipe off with a little alcohol maybe. But again, I think it's the head sculpt where this figure shines. He's looking very angry. That sort of snarl. You can see his teeth. The hair looks good. Like I said, I would have liked to see a neutral face, but no real issues with the deco or the look of this guy. And as I'm looking here, I can see just another little paint imperfection here where the butterfly joint is. So let's go over his articulation. So Hasbro uses a couple different bucks for their Wolverine figures. This is probably the better of the 2 or 3. I think it's 2. But there's one that they normally use for when he's in uniform and one for plain clothes. So we've seen this countless times. Head here, like I said, is on a ball joint. Oh, you can pop the head off. No issues there. You do get a very nice range of motion on the head. He can look up pretty far. He can look down very far. He'll pivot, turn left to right. No issues with the head. It sits kind of funny from the back, Obviously, if you shoot him from the back and he's looking down, you're going to see some gappage there, but you can kind of shift it on the peg. It's a little better than some of the female heads that I've griped about. Shoulders on a ball joint, they're going to come up about that far. You can do a full 360. Like I said, there is a butterfly joint here that you probably got to break in. Seems like it's a little tough, but it's there. Upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbow. There is a swivel on the wrist here, no hinge on that one, but a swivel and a hinge on the right hand. T-joint at the pelvis, legs are going to come up that far. Split will look like that. You do get an upper thigh swivel. There's a double jointed knee. There's a hinge and a pivot on the foot. Alright, size comparison time. Here is a blast from the past. So I have the old Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure Wave AOA Weapon X. The one on the left was the regular version, and then they released a variant that had the burned face and had the claws out on the stub hand. So you can see the difference between those two. A pretty decent buck for back in those days for Toy Biz as far as articulation. It was just kind of oddly proportioned, and as you can see, the legs don't seem to be the same length, so he stands a little funny. But I mean, back in these days, these figures were highly sought after, and the Giant Man Build-A-Figure Wave was probably one of the best from Toy Biz, and the Giant Man Build-A-Figure is still one of the best Build-A-Figures across any line ever. Don't at me. So I suppose if you pop these heads off and do a little dremeling or something like that, you may be able to swap it onto this new Hasbro Weapon X figure. I'd be interested to try the burnt face at the very least, but you know these heads don't just pop right off on the old Toy Biz figure, so you definitely have to do some light customization to make that work. I don't know if I'll do that. Again, like I said, I may do it for the burnt face at the very least, but we'll see what happens. And then here he is next to some other costumed Wolverines, as well as the Weapon X Wolverine from the 616 universe and just his underoos. So that's who you see on the left there. I wanted to break him out to see if I could do a head swap and get a naked AOA Weapon X Wolverine. We'll see what happens there. But going right, that's the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure Wave brown suit Wolverine. And then on Weapon X's immediate left is the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure Wave Wolverine. And then they basically did a redeco of that same Wolverine and released him in the Love Triangle 3-pack. And that's the one with the more yellow costume there. So it's like sort of like a golden yellow to yellow there. And you can see how those two bucks are pretty much the same. He has the more square, blocky upper chest, torso, and then the Weapon X and the brown suit Wolverine seem to be more the same. So I think there's actually three variations of bucks that they use for Wolverine. There's the one that is similar for the Weapon X and the brown suit Wolverine. Obviously, they had to change it up a little bit for the lower legs, being that the brown suit has the boots and Weapon X does not. And then there's the one that's on the two Tiger Stripe Wolverines. And then we have one for when he's in plain clothes, and I'll break that out. But first, a quick swap and a comparison. I forgot to mention that the Weapon X AOA Wolverine, they really did a number with the hair on his arm. They really went the distance here to really make his arms look really hairy. I think these are the hairiest Wolverine arms we've received so far from Hasbro. But this definitely works. The AOA Weapon X Wolverine on the 616 Weapon X naked Wolverine body. Now, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get the stump on his left arm here, on his left forearm, unless you Dremel this out a little bit so it can fit on there. But I guess one of you customizers out there could easily do that. I don't know if I have the patience or the drive for that. You could maybe even use a hand with the claws retracted and just Dremel it down to a nub and pop it in there, and that might work too. And a quick claw comparison. There's the Weapon X, and then there's the bone claws with the Love Triangle Wolverine. And I've mentioned this before, but the bone claws are very sturdy. These are sturdy. The regular adamantium claws on the Love Triangle Wolverine seem to be different from the Weapon X claws. They don't seem as sturdy as these. They're still trying to figure it out, though, I see. The X-Force Wolverine still has the best claws in terms of durability, holding their shape, in my opinion. They're just a little stylized, and some people don't really like that, but you know, his claws have been drawn so many different ways in the comics. They give you some nice variation. I don't mind it. And there's a close look at those claws, which are awful. Toy Biz never got the claws right. And there's a close look at that face. So not bad. And there's the other one. And one final size comparison with his wave mates. So we have AOA X-Man, aka Nate Gray, and then we have AOA Jean Grey. So you can see how the two lovers in this universe stack up next to each other. And then we have AOA Sunfire, and then we have Wild Child. So I think Wolverine came out really nice. This is one I would definitely recommend. You need him if you want to complete the Sugarman Build-A-Figure. Sugarman is shaping up, in my opinion, to be one of the best Build-A-Figures of all time. I think he looks great. I will be reviewing him after I review the last regular figure in this wave, which will be Dark Beast. But up next will be Morph. So yeah, you should definitely get out there and find Wolverine. He should be the easiest one to find, being that he is 2 per case. Couple things. I am trying to get my daughter's math teacher to pop up on that video where I was trying to give away a Weapon X figure. So the link for that video will be in the description below. For anybody who did try to answer that question, I'm trying to get him to pop up and rectify the situation so I could pick a winner and send out the extra Weapon X Wolverine to somebody. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was I want to give a big shout out to my man Marcellus Ross, who actually made the previous review possible, the classic gray suit Black Widow. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much. Please hit the like button, hit the bell so you can get notifications for my channel. And as always, rate, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.
That's crispy.
It should also be noted that Weapon X did show up in the Uncanny X-Force run when the team was going back and forth between the regular Marvel Universe and the AOA Universe. He was an antagonist, a villain in that, and he had a different outfit, a different deco on. So it'd be interesting to see if when Hasbro continues the AOA line, they start to do some of the stuff from Uncanny X-Force and give us a different look. It'd be interesting to see if they give us the look with him in his costume before he lost his hand. We'll just have to wait and see. I think sky's the limit though. You know, they've been trying to do AOA stuff for quite some time, and like I mentioned early on in these reviews, this was like a pet project of Jesse Falcon. So I think they're going to push this as far as possible.